hidden hand. I am a generational member of a ruling bloodline family. Every so often, as per the directives of the law of our Creator, a brief window of opportunity opens, whereby a select handful of our family are required to make communication with our subjects and offer you the chance to ask us any questions you would like answered. I am double bound in this duty. It is required of me by the law of our Creator to offer this opportunity to you at this time, though I am also bound by the law of free will and by family oaths, that there is only so much I am able to say. Rules define life in games. If you wish to participate, here they are. 1. I will afford you courtesy and respect in the manner I address you, and I expect the same from you in reciprocation. 2. I will decide whether or not I am either willing or permitted to answer your question. If your question is not answered, it is either because I cannot disclose it or because I considered your question was lacking in one or more of the following: respect, courtesy, intelligence, decency, or that it was otherwise unworthy of being dignified with a response. 3. That you agree to treat this potential dialogue with an aspect of provisional faith. In practice, this means that rather than impeding the flow of information with crass comments or disbelief or petty name-calling, my participation here requires of you that you discourse with me under suspended judgment. In other words, wait until the process is complete before deciding for yourself as to the content of truth and knowledge imparted herein. 4. That you formulate your question intelligently. My time is limited. I do not want to waste it by having to trawl through pointless, futile, insensible, or disrespectful questions. Therefore, I will answer the questions I feel are most deserving of a response during the time that I have available. Use the time we have wisely. If any of the above conditions are breached, I reserve the right to terminate our discourse forthwith, if I so choose. That being said, I will attempt to answer your questions as honestly and openly as permissible for me. I will check back and respond as time allows. Question: how many generations back does your bloodline extend? Or perhaps more accurately, who does your family consider its earliest ancestor in a position of power? Our lineage can be traced back beyond antiquity, from the earliest times of your recorded history and beyond. Our family has been directing the play from behind the scenes in one way or another. Before the rise and fall of Atlantis, yes, that was indeed perfectly real, we are born to lead. It is part of the design for this current paradigm. Q. To what extent has selective breeding been used to preserve the purity of the line? And what becomes of children of unapproved unions? The breeding is generally case-specific, depending upon the role that the family members in question are due to grow into. I will touch more on this in answers to the next poster's questions that you rephrased. There are no unapproved unions. Our family will always intermarry between lines, or what we would term houses. Marriages are arranged. In all my years alive, I have never seen or heard of a family member breaking this code. As far as marriage goes, you do as you are told. One cannot join the family. One is born or incarnated into it. On the rare instances of a child being born that could be seen as bringing difficulties, you are correct in your premise, that it would be raised as part of the family, though would not grow up in the house or community of either of its parents. Q. If one were to imagine a scale, perhaps a triangle with political, religious, and corporate power at the 3 points, how would you categorize the power your family yields? And has that position shifted over time? You need to first understand the structure of the family. In the grand scheme of things, the line is not as important as the house. The house is not as important as the family. The family is all. No matter the house or line, we are one. Truly international family. Imagine, if you will, a body. A house would represent a vital organ or body part within the body itself. Each part has an important role to play in the functioning of the whole, and to each of us, the whole has our undivided loyalty. As I say, many lines, far more than you're aware of, but one family. Imagine, if you will, our realms of influence do not fit as comfortably into the 3 boxes of your triangle. There are 6 disciplines of training within the family, and each member of the family is schooled extensively in all of them, from early childhood. We all have an area of specialty, though we have experience in all spheres. The 6 spheres of schools of learning are military, government, spiritual, scholarship, leadership, and sciences. In practice, out there on the stage of public life, we hold key positions in all of these main areas of importance, with the addition of a complicit media machine and ownership of your financial establishments. All bases are covered. Q. How many parallel bloodlines do you estimate are in similar positions to your own? And to what extent does your family see them as either competition or collaborators? Yes, as I say, knowing the line is of no practical use to you. It is the belonging to the family that is important. There are 13 base or core original bloodlines. Yet, there are many, many other lines that spring from these, as do rivers from the oceans. If you imagine the 13 original lines as primary color that can be mixed to create a vast array of other colors, then you will have some comprehension. Again, no competition, just family. No competition in the sense of house against house, though it is a dog-eat-dog world, so there is interpersonal competition in that sense of the word. Everyone wants to move up. Our whole familial society is geared that way, toward upward progression. Q. What does the term generational member mean? Which generation specifically? It means that one is born into the family. The order and its agenda is handed down from generation to generation. Only in extremely rare occasions have outsiders been invested into the family, and then, even these were of other esoterically integral lines and interchangeable lines. Q. Can you cite 2 or more previous instances whereby this directive has been upheld? Once in 1999 to what you would call an alternative media source. Once in 2003 on another internet conspiracy-based forum, though the information relayed was not entirely pure, not from the intention of misleading, but rather through imperfect or incomplete knowledge of the messengers. It is not in the mainstream controlled media. It will not be believed by the masses. This is information tailored for those who already know that we are very real and exerting a strong, if mostly subtle, influence over your lives. If you wish to enslave a man, allow him to believe that he is already free. Q. By what basis is the timing of such revelations established? By the decree of the Supreme World Council, according to the will of the Creator. Q. Are we really considered chattel and traded as such by the government? By the governments, generally, yes. Perhaps people are seen as collateral, pawns that are maneuvered around the chessboard, according to the game plan. By the family, contrary to popular beliefs, many of us do not mean you any harm directly. There is just a matter of divine destiny to uphold and unfold, and we must play our parts in the game, as given to us by the Creator. In many ways, it is actually in our own interest that you are prepared for the coming harvest, just not maybe prepared in quite the way that you would like. Still, even then, you are choosing the negative polarity with your own free will decisions, with a little help and direction from us. Souls are harvestable in either extreme of the polarities, one could say. Q. If so, how do we become freemen? You will never be free, for as long as you are incarnating on this plane. The very nature of you being here is indication of that. There is a reason why you are here, and here is very likely not really where you think here is. How do you become free? By working out where you are and coming to an understanding of why you are here. You are fast running out of time to do so before the coming harvest. Those that don't make it will have to repeat the cycle. Q. Is the Messiah alive today? There is no Messiah. Stop looking outside of yourself for salvation. Is there what you might call a Christ consciousness alive? Then yes, in a manner of speaking. Though not in your third density or dimensional awareness. Q. Is it the end times as described in the book of Revelations? Yes. Not just described in the book of Revelations, but also in the prophecies of virtually every religion, spiritual philosophy, and mystery tradition throughout history. This time is now at hand. To use your own example, however, Revelations 14 through 16. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, Thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So he who sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. The earth is indeed ripe for harvest. The question is, who will be ready? And will the harvest be positive or negative? Q. How do you justify that the current British royal family line is the true bloodline, but Ishmael is not the true receiver of Abraham's gift? If you're true bloodline, you'll know what I mean. Who says it is the true line? There were ruling bloodlines long before your Yahweh and his Christianity arrived on this plane. Yahweh is a creator, not the one infinite creator. There are other and higher gods than him, ultimately all as part of the one, and either consciously or unconsciously exercising their free will to create. Begin to study outside of the box for a true understanding of the creation. The British royalty is not the most powerful line. The names that you know do not hold the real ancient power. There are others above these lineages in the hierarchy. You will not know the names of these lines. Q. What proof do you have that ruling elite families exist and that you're a member of one? It's something that I think you thought was not falsifiable, which is why you chose the identity for the story you're weaving. However, I think there may indeed be a way you can prove it. I have no need to prove anything to you. I am merely doing my duty as directed to me. Believe or do not believe. We are divinely indifferent. I am obliged to complete the task here. The end result is of no consequence to me. I will have discharged my duty and handing down certain information that must be released at this time. There is no stipulation as to where I do so, only that I do. I choose this platform as the general level of intelligence, comprehension, and reasoning is reckoned to be higher than in many such forums and places. Understand, due to the law of free will, I cannot just give you information, at least not without consequences to my own person, which I would rather avoid. It is an infringement upon your free will, your right to not know. You have to ask me for the information you want. Only then can I provide it. So whilst there are important things I have to share, if I am not asked the questions, I cannot get that information to you. I am hopeful that synchronicity will bring the most important questions of real depth out from among you. My duty is to offer. Yours is to ask. My duty is fulfilled, whether or not yours is. Q. Surely, if ruling elite families exist and you are a member of one, then you must be controlling global events through world governments. Tell us one major government action from any country that's going to occur in the next 5 days. I won't be surprised when you refuse to do so. I am not at liberty to discuss such intimate, immediate detail, and in many cases, I am not far enough up the hierarchy to know anyway. Typically, I would receive a call a day before the enactment of a major event, just to say something along the lines of, "This part of such and such a plan will take place tomorrow in such and such a way. Do not be alarmed." Also, one has to take into account the specific areas of specialty I mentioned previously. My area is in spirituality, so my focus is not so much on geopolitical events. I am aware of the overall design, though the finer points are not often my area of expertise. I am prepared to give you some things coming down the timeline that you will be able to look back upon and verify my predictions retrospectively. The stock markets will soon complete their controlled demolition. After initial appearance that the bailouts and rescue packages have steadied the ship, there will be new record lows by the end of the month in 2008. Our financial institutions will later call in all loans. There will be many bankruptcies and foreclosures. The only way John McCain will become the next U.S. president will be if something happens to Barack Obama before the election, if there even is an election. If a certain faction gets their way, there will not be. Remember, behind the scenes, there is only one party, our party. Democracy is an illusion which is created to uphold your slavery. Whichever side wins, the family wins. There are many possibilities and alternative scripts. All of them lead toward the ultimate implementation of the overall blueprint of our Creator. Unless any unforeseen disruptions delay its announcement, there will be new currencies, along with a new Union of Nations. January has been spoken of in some circles as the latest, though there are plans underway which could even bring this to fruition much earlier than initially hoped for. It depends upon the results of other upcoming events and to how this will play out. I am not high enough up the hierarchy to know the intimate details of the dates and times that far in advance. There is a tree system in which such knowledge is passed down, as and when it becomes need to know. I would be considered to be a regional leader. Above me are nationals and international. San Francisco and Damascus will be uninhabitable. Again, it depends upon Again, it depends upon certain forces at play in which timelines are activated. Humanity, though utterly unconscious of the fact, has a significant part to play in this. You, as a collective conscious of the earth, are choosing the negative polarization by default, by the quality of your thoughts and actions. Thought is creative energy focused. You get exactly what you put out. Why do you think the media is so important to us? You have, as a society, in your hypnotized comatose state, given your free will consent to the state your earth is in today. You saturate your minds with the unhealthy dishes served up for you on your televisions that you are addicted to: violence, pornography, greed, hatred, selfishness, incessant bad news, fear, and terror. When was the last time you stopped to think of something beautiful and pure? The earth is the way it is because of your collective thought about it. You are complicit in your inaction. Every time you look the other way when you see an injustice, your thought and the subconscious level of creation to the Creator is your allowance of these things to occur. In so doing, you are serving our purpose. It is very important to us that the polarization of the earth is negative at the time of the great harvest. That means service to self-oriented as opposed to positive, service to others. We require a negative harvest, and you are doing a fine job of helping us attain our goal. We are very grateful. There will be dramatic changes in your climate and weather conditions over the next few years. As the time of the great harvest approaches, you will see widespread and wind speeds surpassing 300 miles per hour at times. There will be raging tsunamis and widespread devastation and solar emission. That is all I have time for at present. I have a sacrifice I must attend now. No, not really. Let's see if we can increase the depth of an inquiry and question matter in the next session. Seek beyond the superficial. Get to the core of the matter. Okay, a lot to get through here, so please let me finish the many posts it will take to answer your questions before you reply, so as to not interrupt the flow of the message. Q. Bloodlines only compromise the extreme elite of the world because your ancestors came to power by chance in the beginning, not because your kind is special. In fact, there's nothing special, clever, or honorable in enslaving others. It is not about deserving or not. Does one deserve to be born English, or American, or Italian, or French, or German, and so on? We came not to power by chance, but rather, which I know may be hard to swallow, by intelligent design. This path of ours was not chosen by us, but rather it was appointed and accepted. Q. Who is your creator? And is your creator the same as our creator? This is an excellent question, which I can use to draw our communication closer to the core. Yes and no. You would first need to understand the creation. In the beginning, there is the infinite one. This is the source of all, intelligent infinity. It is the undifferentiated absolute. Within it is unlimited potential, waiting to become. Think of it as the uncarved block of your Taoist traditions. Infinite intelligence, becoming aware of itself, seeks to experience itself, and the one infinite creator is born or manifest. This appears to your third density comprehension as space. In effect, the creator is a point of focused infinite consciousness or awareness into infinite intelligent energy. The one infinite creator, also becoming self-aware, seeks to experience itself as creator, and in so doing, begins the next step down in the creational spiral. The one infinite creator, in focusing in its infinite intelligence, becomes intelligent energy, which you could call the great central sun, and divides itself into smaller portions of itself. that can then in turn experience themselves as creators or central suns. In other words, each central sun or creator is a step down in conscious awareness or distortion from the original thought of creation. So, in the beginning was not the Word, but thought. The Word is thought expressed and made manifest as creator. There is unity. Unity is all there is. Infinite intelligence and infinite energy. The two are one, and within them is the potential for all creation. This state of consciousness could be termed as being. Infinite intelligence does not recognize its potential. It is the undifferentiated absolute. By infinite energy recognizes the potential of becoming all things in order to bring any desired experience into being. Infinite infinity can be likened to the central heartbeat of life, and infinite energy as the spiritual life blood or potential, which pumps out for the Creator to form the creation. Creation is based upon the three primary distortions of the Infinite One. 1. Free will. In the first law or distortion of creation, the Creator receives the free will to know and experience itself as an individuated, though paradoxically, unified aspect of the One. 2. Love. In the second law of creation, the initial distortion of free will becomes a focus point of awareness known as logos, or love, or the word in biblical terms. Love, or logos, using its infinite intelligent energy, then takes on the role of co-creating a vast array of physical illusions or thought forms, or densities, which some call dimensions, in which, according to its intelligent design, will best offer the range of potential experiences in which it can know itself. In effect, the one infinite creator is divided into itself into logos, could be termed in your third density understanding as a universal creator. In other words, logos creates on a universal level of being. Logos creates physical universes in which it and the Creator may experience. 3. Light. To manifest the infinite spiritual or life force energy into a physical thought form of densities, Logos creates the third distortion of light. From the three original primary distortions of the One into making the creation arise myriad hierarchies of other sub-distortions, containing their own specific paradoxes. The goal of the game is to enter into these and further divisions of creation, and then seek to harmonize the polarities in order to once again know oneself as the creator of them. The nature of all such physically manifest energy is light. Wherever thus exists any form of physical matter, there is light, or divine intelligent energy at its core or center. Something which is infinite cannot be other than or many. An infinite creator knows only unity. Thus, drawing upon its infinite intelligence, the infinite creator designed a blueprint based on the finite principles of free will of awareness and sub-level creations, which in turn could become aware of themselves and seek to experience themselves as creators. And so, the Russian doll-style experiment was stepped down, and down, and down. Levels of creation within levels of creation. The one infinite creator or great central sun steps down its infinite energy to become Logos. Logos, in turn, designs vast universes of space as yet unmaterialized, stepping down and splitting itself again, in plural, in other words, into an array of central suns which will each become a logos or co-creator of its own universe. With each unique individualized portion of the one infinite creator containing within it its very essence, intelligent infinity. Using the law of free will, each universal logos, or central sun, designs and creates its own version or perspective of physical reality in which to experience itself as creator. Stepping down again, it focuses its intelligent energy and creates the unmanifest form of galaxies within itself and splits itself into yet further co-creator portions, which in turn will then design and manifest their own idea of physical reality in the form of points of conscious awareness that we call suns, stars, and planets. A planetary entity, or soul, begins the first density of experience into which another individualized portion of the one can incarnate. Just as with all logos and sub-logos of creation, each soul is yet another smaller unique portion of the infinite one. At first, the intelligent energy of the earth is in a state that you could call chaos, meaning that its energy is undefined. Then the process begins again. The energy begins to become aware of itself. That's the first density of awareness, is consciousness. And the Earth's logos, or sub-logos, is effect, begins to create other downward steps within itself. And the internal makeup of the Earth begins to form as the raw elements of air and fire combine to work on the waters and earth, thus arising conscious awareness of their being, and the process of evolution begins, forming the second density. Second density begins to become aware of themselves as being separate, and thus begins to evolve toward the third density of self-conscious awareness, the lowest density into which a human soul can incarnate. Humans, in turn, or the souls incarnate within them, seek to return to the light and love from which they came. And they begin the journey of progression from third density up to the eighth density, and then the return to the infinite oneness. Explanation of the densities beyond normal human consciousness is another question, though. So if you wish to know more about them, someone will need to ask an intelligent question which I can respond to, so as not to impinge upon your free will not to know. So having set forth the above, I can return to further elucidate on your original question. Q. Who is your creator? And is your creator the same as our creator? As I said, yes and no. Ultimately, every living thing, and all things are living, is created by the one infinite creator's initial universal creation. So yes, taken from that perspective, the one infinite creator focuses its infinite intelligence into an awareness point of infinite energy and brings the whole of creation into being. Though we are not directly created by the one infinite creator, but rather by our own logos, sub-logos, and sub-logos, and so on. So from the perspective, whilst we are all essentially made up of the same stuff of creation, initiated by the one infinite creator, our actual personal creators are different portions of sub-logos of the one. In other words, yes, our creator, whilst originating from the same source, is not the same entity as your creator. Q. You say that you come from 13 original bloodlines. Yet the DNA mapping project clearly proved that all humanity descends from only 3. Does this mean you aren't human? An excellent question. Thank you. Yes, that is correct, in a manner of speaking. If you were to meet me walking down the street, I would appear just as human as you do. We've been incarnating here with you for generations, yet our bloodlines do not originate from this world. Q. Your answer to the 6 disciplines of learning are quite similar to the book about Atlantis that was supposed to have been channeled. Was this also a time for your bloodlines to post answers? Yes, That is correct, again, in a manner of speaking. Other, shall we say, off-world entities also visited this place at this time and passed down their own understanding of creation, as well as their technology, from what we could best describe as being a future aspect of ourselves. It was humanity's error in handling this information that ultimately led to the destruction of Atlantis. Having now answered a question on whether or not our lineage is of human origin, I can return to tie in that answer with an explanation as to who is our creator. I'm dancing close to the line in answering this, but the record needs to be set straight, and I should just about be able to get away with it without incurring my own upline's displeasure. Let us get to the crux of the matter. Your creator, the one you have called Yahweh, is not God, insomuch as your Bible refers to him as being the one true God. He is a creator or sub-logos, rather than the one infinite creator. He is not even a galactic level logos, but rather in the planetary logos for this one world. Our creator is the one you refer to as Lucifer, the light bearer, and bright and morning star. Our creator is not the devil, as he has been spiritually portrayed in your Bible. Lucifer is what you would call a group soul, or social memory complex, which has evolved to the level of the sixth density, which in effect means that he, or more accurately, we, has evolved to a level significant and sufficient that he, or we, has attained a status equal or arguably greater than that of Yahweh. We have evolved higher than him. In appearance, were you to gaze upon Lucifer's fullness expression of our being, the appearance would be that of a sun or a bright star, or when stepping down into a third density vibration, we would appear as what you may term as angel or light being. Allow me to elucidate. When an entity, group soul complex, evolves to the level of the sixth density, it is by comparison to the amount of time it takes to get that far, a mere hop, skip, and a jump from eighth density ultimate reunion with the one infinite creator, and then from there, back to dissolution into the source of all, intelligent infinity. We, our bloodline families, as a group soul or social memory complex, Lucifer, were on the verge of seventh density ascension, though at this level before harvest comes we had the choice to progress higher or to return to help others of lower densities with their own evolution by passing down our knowledge and wisdom, or light, to those that call upon us for assistance with their own free will. Now, at this time, having made our decision to stay and help our galactic brothers and sisters in the One, we were assigned a challenging task by the Council of Elders, who act as the guardians of this galaxy from their eighth density headquarters on Saturn. Yahweh, due to the fact that he has not and was his right as planetary logos, handed down his own free will to know thyself to those incarnate upon his world, was having very little evolutionary progress therein. So we, Lucifer, were sent to help. Once the order was given from the Council of Elders, who fell or descended back to a place where we could, with hard work and focus, once again materialize a third density manifestation of ourselves. Yahweh had agreed to our coming. In fact, it was he who had initially asked the council for a catalyst of change to enter into his creation and share the knowledge and wisdom he had attained through our ascensions. In the absence of free will upon the world, there can be no polarity, and therefore nothing to choose between. Just as is portrayed in the book of Genesis, the world was very Edenic in nature. Sure, it was a lovely paradise, yet the beings incarnated there had no agitator toward evolving beyond the third density, and therefore little hope of ever making the journey home to the One. Yahweh has been happy to keep his own little pet Eden project in effect, but with little chance of the souls here making it home, it has become, in effect, an albeit very beautiful prison. Yahweh was, in modern parlance, running a benign dictatorship. Without polarity, derived from free will, there is only the unity of love and light, and no choice to experience other than that. So we were to be the catalyst for change. In order to provide that choice, thus bringing polarity, Yahweh agreed that we would introduce the concept of free will to Earth's inhabitants by offering them an initial choice as to whether they wanted it or not. Hence, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or more accurately, the knowledge of polarity, of positive or negative. Yahweh takes his inhabitants to a new garden and tells them you can do anything you like except this one thing, thus creating the desire to do the one thing they are told they cannot. Hence, a choice. We provide the catalyst by telling them the benefits of attaining knowledge. They eat from the tree, and the rest is history. Yahweh thought that his children would still choose to obey him, and when he discovered they did not, he became angry. As he himself describes in his scriptures, he is a jealous God, and he did not like it that his children had chose to disobey him and follow our advice. We're already committed to being here for a predefined set of cycles to help provide the catalyst for humans' evolution, namely by offering you the negative option, or that which you choose to call evil. Now that free will has been granted, Yahweh could not retract it, and we have to stay here as contracted to continue to provide the world with the polarity choice. Since then, Yahweh has confined us as a group soul here within the Earth's astral planes, which is very constrictive and uncomfortable for a being of our wisdom and experience. The Council of Elders gave us the choice to be released against Yahweh's will, but at the cancellation of our contract to serve the Earth, or to remain and fulfill our assignment and endure Yahweh's self-proclaimed wrath, we stayed. But as a karmic result of our group's soul confinement by Yahweh, our own individuated souls were given the mandate by the councils to rule over Yahweh's people during our physical incarnations here on this world. Let's be clear about one thing, though. All of this physical life incarnation is a very intricate and skillfully designed game, whereby the one infinite creator plays the game of forgetting who it is, so that it can learn to remember, and in doing so, experience and know itself as creator, all the way down to us tiny individuated sparks of the all that is. Offstage and between lives, 0-point time, antimatter universe, as incarnated human beings, we, all of us, you, as souls, are great friends, brothers and sisters in the one. Between lives, we all have a great laugh about the parts we have performed in the play, and look forward to and have great fun preparing the next chapters to act out. I hope that during the above answer, I have also adequately covered your question on what is our interpretation of good versus evil. If not, please say, and I will go into more detail. Q. Can you elaborate on the coming harvest and what exactly you mean by harvest? Q. Is 2012 harvest time? When you speak of harvest, it has echoes of chaos Gnosticism, in the sense that we are divine souls trapped in the physical world, continuously reincarnating into flesh until the time that we reach such a level of spiritual gnosis that we are able to avoid being reincarnated in our next cycle. Is this the foundation of your belief? Another excellent and very insightful question. Thank you. The higher the quality of the question, the more depth I can give to my answer. It all has to do with the laws of confusion and free will. Yes, the noonday winter solstice sun on December 21st, 2012, is a time when the Lord of the harvest shall return. You might know him as Nibiru. Read up on Mayan prophecies and calendarical events for more detail upon how the actual galactic and universal cycles work. The travelers who gave them this information were the same ones who visited the civilization of Atlantis. The Mayans used that information by creating with the positive vibration of the polarity. The Atlanteans opted for the negative. Yes, to answer your question, there is much truth in some of the ancient Gnostic texts, though there are also distortions. The information is not pure. It came through many filters. You are indeed what you call divine souls. You are sparks or seeds of the one infinite creator. You are life itself, light, remembering and learning who you really are. We come here to help you to do this, and yes, currently you are trapped, or more accurately, quarantined, within the matter of this earth you call. You can thank your creator Yahweh for that. You are the offspring or individuations of his group soul or social memory complex. Macrocosmically speaking, you are Yahweh, the karmic effect of his imprisoning us in his astral planes. Also has an impact upon you. I cannot be more specific on this without impinging on the law of confusion. You must work it out for yourselves. As for the question of, can I elaborate on the coming harvest? Yes, I shall do so now. Your Earth abides by the laws of the creation of your galactic logos. The galaxy runs on cycles of time, known as the precession of the Equinoxes. As I said, seek the Mayan calendar for a deeper insight as to how the galaxy runs. It is highly accurate, but for the purpose of this disclosure, I will give a brief overview. The Maya use an astrological cycle called the precession of the Equinoxes. This is a 26,000-year cycle in which Earth transits through each of the 12 signs of the zodiac for about 2,152 years each. Each of these astrological ages represents 1 month of the grand cosmic year. This Mayan cycle also corresponds to a 26,000-year relationship of the Sun, which is the solar logos, orbiting Alcyon, the central star of our Seven Sisters Pleiades constellation. The end of this cycle heralds literally a new world age and a new creation, a new heaven and a new earth, and is the time of the great harvest. Smaller cycles yield a harvest, and then life continues on the earth as normal. Great cycles yield a great harvest, and the end of the current life of the third density. See, it is a kind of cosmic jet wash and deep clean, whilst the earth takes a rest and regenerates herself. When the life cycle ends, all things will pass away, and all things shall be made new. Collectively, humanity right now is growing and developing into the beings you have long been encoded to be. Yet, as with any labor, it is not the mother or the baby who is in charge. It is the primal process of birth itself, unfolding its own destiny. So December 21st, 2012 is not the day where all of a sudden the lights go out and everything will suddenly change. Rather, we are now in the process of this transition from one world age to the next. The changes are underway and will continue steadily accelerating as we head towards the culminating date. The 26,000-year cycle is composed of 5 lesser cycles, each of which are 5,125 years in duration. Each of these 5 cycles is considered its own world age of creation cycle. Our present great cycle, which is from 3,113 BC to 2012 AD, is called the Age of the Fifth Sun. The fifth age is the synthesis of the previous 4. The initial date that Earth entered the fifth world was August 13th, 3113, written in Mayan long count notation as 13.0.0.0.0.0. To help you understand this notation, 13 Baktuns, 0 Katuns, the second Tuns, third Unals, and fourth Ken. These are the Mayan words for the periods of time. So a day equals Ken. A month of 20 days is Nal. A year of 360 days is Tun. 20 tuns, or years, is a Katun, and 20 Katuns is a Baktun, and a Baktun is 5,125 years. Every day from that point is reckoned by the number of days passed since the event of this cosmic beginning point, Within the 5,125-year cycle lies 13 smaller cycles known as the 13 Baktun Count, or the Long Count. Each Baktun cycle lasts for 394 years, or 144,000 days. Each Baktun was its own historical age within the Great Creation cycle, with a specific destiny for the evolution of those who incarnated in each Baktun. Earth and her inhabitants are currently traveling through the 13th Baktun cycle, the final period of 1618 to 2012 AD. This cycle is known both as the triumph of materialism and the transformation of matter. On 13, the December solstice sun will be found in the band of the Milky Way, directly in the position of the dark rift in the galaxy, forming an alignment between the galactic plane and the solstice meridian. We are about to enter into a literal alignment of the cosmic, galactic, solar, and lunar planes. This is an event that has slowly converged over a period of thousands of years and is caused by the precession of the equinoxes, kind of like a turning of the universal gears. It brings about the great harvest and the return of the Lord of the harvest. And the world will complete its ascension to the fourth density, the vibrational density of love. During this ascension, there will be a three-way split for those souls inhabiting Earth. Those of the predominantly negative polarity will accompany us as we graduate through the negative, or service to self harvest. We, Lucifer, will create a new fourth density Earth based on the negative self-service polarity. We must work off our own part of the negative karmic effect incurred from all the negativity created on this Earth. Once we have done so, we will be released to once again assume our place as sixth density guardians and teachers of wisdom throughout the galaxy. Those of the predominantly positive polarity, love and light, will ascend to a beautiful new fourth density Earth, where you will begin to work upon your learning and demonstrating of love and compassion. It will be a very beautiful golden age. The fourth density begins to open you up to your true powers as a unique, individualized aspect of the one infinite creator. You will perform works and wonders of the like that the one you call Jesus promised you would do, and even greater things than these. It will be a very magical time for you. For the majority of humans on the earth who could be considered, shall we say, lukewarm, they will experience of what will feel ecstatic, 0-point time, where you feel totally at one with the Creator, giving you an encouraging reminder and glimpse of who you really are, before the veil of forgetfulness once again descends upon you. And you will be transported to another third density Earth, a kind of replica, to continue working upon yourself and learning that life here is all about making choices. You will remain quarantined, incarnated in third density matter until the time of the next harvest, in which time you will need to have proved yourself that you have learned how to be a more positive being. Focus more upon being of service to others rather than seeking only to serve yourself. When you can do this, and the next harvest comes, you will have earned the right to join us and enjoy your inheritance as a member of the galactic community. And you will sit with us as brothers and sisters of the One around the table of our galactic governing body, the Confederation of Worlds.